I can totally see us cooking in this kitchen.
I can totally see us cooking like pros with natural gas.
Oh, I would love to soak in that tub.
I'd love to save energy and money with a natural gas water heater.
I can imagine cuddling up in here.
Because natural gas heating keeps the house comfortable when we need it.
We have to get this house.
We have to get natural gas.
We're investing in infrastructure to help bring comfort and savings to you. Visit centerpointenergy.com/natural gas benefits. CenterPoint Energy, always there.
Hey, Coach. Mentioned on Saturday you had open competition at kicker. What's the response been like today so far?
You know, we've had quite a few people pay some attention, reach out to us. The biggest thing is I want to have, which we did this at other stops I've had, where basically you'd have guys walk on, and you can only do it when you're allowed to use a ball, which is during spring. And so, like, you know, guys that accumulate in January, you say, all right, we'll see you first day of spring, and you check out what they can do. But, you know, we're in season now, so we can check it out if their NCAA papers are right. And anyway, we want to have a pile of kickers that are available that we cultivate, develop. And over the years, most of my kickers have been walk-on guys that have developed and improved to the point to where they become the starting kicker. And I remember one guy, and I have the utmost admiration for him, you know, starting right out of high school. He went to the kicking tryout, and we cut him for like 3 years. And he kept working, and, you know, we cut him for like 3 years. He was a starting kicker for like 2 years for us, and it was really quite impressive. And he's, you know, just became deadly accurate, grew a little bit. And so anyway, I just want to have a pile of kickers, and I want to develop them over time so that as they improve and elevate, you know, they have a chance. I've also had a situation where the walk-on kicker played ahead of the scholarship kicker, which I'll do that without any hesitation because, you know, whoever plays the best and helps us be successful is the guy we want out there.
Hey, Mike, how does some of the kicking issues maybe impact play calling moving forward when you're maybe in the red zone or in kicking range?
I don't know. I'm inclined to go for it on fourth down anyway, or they probably need to be a little more aggressive with it. Should have been to begin with, you know. And you know, shoot, if you look back. We used to go for it on fourth down more than anybody. I probably ought to get back to my old ways, you know.
Coach, clearly this year you've had several games that could have gone either way, and you guys have not gotten the lucky breaks in some of them. But just going into the late stretch, down stretch of your second season at Mississippi State, are you pleased where this program is? This program about where you thought it would be going into your second season?
I just keep, you know, I don't really do it that way. You just keep scratching and clawing, try to make sure you're getting better every day. I think we're improving. You know, I think that, we've already beaten several teams nobody thought we were going to beat. But, you know, I think that, you know, we just got to keep getting better. And the worst of it is there's several within our grasp, you know, that, you know, one play away, you know, we win the game, and we can't lose sight of that. But, you know, I thought our guys played extremely tough environment, you know, all the things that went into it. These guys all had off week before we played them, and then they're loaded with seniors running around with like 96 scholarships to our 79. But the good news is our guys are going to be here next year, and they're going to learn from this game, and they're going to be here for a couple of years. And, you know, some of these guys aren't going to be there next year on those other teams.
Afternoon, Mike. Who would kind of be, I know you kind of alluded to this a minute ago, but who would be your starting kicker, I mean, if the game were today?
I don't know. We're going to check it out this week.
Okay. And have you spoken to either of your guys that played on Saturday about your post-game comments about the kicking tryout, and are you concerned that they've impacted their confidence, or do you think it kind of gave them a chip on their shoulder?
You know, I don't know what it did, but the thing is that there's a ball and you kick it, and it really doesn't matter if a bunch of 7-year-olds are watching, or if if 5 million Mongol warriors on horses getting ready to shoot their bows and arrows at you because, you approach the ball and kick it. It's simple as that. But I do want to have that depth, that we developed. And I just got to thinking about it that we hadn't done that. Here, and it's just kind of automatic, as they would come through, and there'd be a list of about 40, and some would kick it worse than you would think, like worse than you can, for example, and well, okay, but some were even worse, trust me, and then some were quite remarkable. And those you'd keep around, kick drills, and then they'd work, develop, and then 2 years later, boom, there's your starting kicker,
And those open tryouts worked at Texas Tech with Matt Williams. What was that experience like, finding a kicker from the halftime contest, and what do you think of how he did for you guys?
Matt Williams wasn't really a byproduct of that. I mean, it's not really personal to these guys. I just want to have a thicker force to draw from, if we get in a bind. But Matt Williams was even more interesting because we had a number of them that became our kickers there at Tech, walk-ons, the vast majority. Matt Williams, we'd scholarshiped a fellow that was struggling. And then Matt Williams is, this is the contest, the third quarter contest. And we're playing Massachusetts, I believe. And it's early in the season. And, well, here comes the guy, and they've had that contest, if you can kick it 30 yards out. A student, then you get free rent, and the ball, of course, would go all over the place. And Matt Williams in just regular shoes, tennis shoes, one steps it, it goes straight up and through, like the type of thing where if you just had a center and a holder and nobody blocking the defenders on the line of scrimmage, you would have still made it because it went up right away, And so I said, go get that guy. What does it hurt? Stick him in the pile here. And then, so the equipment guys ran him down, found him, got his information. He came by the office, and then it turned out he was eligible that year, right then, that year. And so about 2 weeks later, we're playing number 10 Kansas at Kansas, and he hit 9 extra points that day. How about that? 9 in a row. So we're pretty thrilled with that.
Coach, so far, what are you seeing from Auburn, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and kind of looks that they show?
I think they're good. They're talented guys. They're not super complicated or elaborate. They're talented guys that are physical and they get after you.
Mike, with the special teams kicking aside, you've had a couple punt returns this season and some penalties even in that last game. What's kind of been the overarching issue there with the special teams unit, and how do you kind of try to fix that with 3 games left?
I don't know. We got to just be more disciplined in there. Nobody works on special teams more than we do. We just got, the 2 last week that I can think of. I can't remember what all. One was we hit a guy in the back, which was just stupid. And then the other thing is we jumped offside, which that's dumb too. There was maybe another one, I can't remember.
It's obviously Harson's first year in the SEC. I mean, you're only 1 year removed from your first year as a head coach in the conference. What was kind of your biggest growing pains, you think, for being your first year in? Obviously, last year being a COVID season, but COVID stuff aside, what was kind of your biggest difficulties year one, you think?
Well, all those interruptions were the worst thing, and then the other thing, and I don't think it's lost on anybody, but, there are those out there to try to make things as joyless as they possibly can, and they did. They successfully did it. And then the other is, everybody wants everybody come into the SEC and jump up and down and say, well, the SEC's special by some gigantic margin, and it's so much different than where you were before or whatever, And I don't want you to go away empty-handed, because I think the energy and excitement is unique because the proximity of the SEC is relatively close, so the fans get integrated to the point where they all know each other, they spend time with each other, they see each other from one year to the next, and it really is quite exciting. But when it comes to the football part, you sit there in a dark room, you watch film, you eat bad foods, you drink coffee, you dip tobacco, and you sit and you try to figure out how to get after the other guy, and guess what? His defensive tackle's this, but his safety's only that, and so it goes. And then on the other side, well, their quarterback's this, but the running back, we think we can do something with this, and you sit there and scheme and grind away, and then you try to have a great week of practice, because I think that's the biggest thing, is a great week of practice. And then you fire it away, and you'll find it's uniquely similar to the SEC in this way, to the Pac-12, the Big 12, whatever conference Boise was in at the time, because they keep changing the name. And so I would think that he finds it eerily similar.
And Bo Nix, the guy that you saw last season, how have you seen him kind of improve in the last year? What do you remember about him when you played him, and what makes him dangerous as a quarterback?
He's got some mobility to him. This conference is full of great quarterbacks, and not to take anything away from him, but, he's going to present similar challenges to the others we faced this year,
Jaden Wallace held 2-1 catch for 3 yards against Arkansas. He hasn't had a 100-yard receiving game yet this season. Is that just a factor of having more depth at receiver, or has he not made the leap you might have expected from year 1 to year 2?
Well, I think Ford's done a really good job taking some of those catches away from him. He had a chance to have 2 more this last game, but I think as Ford emerges, Wally's kind of in a dogfight for reps to see which one he gets, Ford gets, or Jameer gets,
You mentioned a couple of weeks back that this was kind of a one-layer team in terms of depth. Did you see it more as a 2-layer team in terms of depth, or where's that depth right now?
We're trying to get there to that. I don't know that we're there yet. Depth's kind of relative. Like last year, we're like 5 layers deeper. But we're pretty thin. But the thing that's exciting is we've got a lot of people that are sophomore or less that are playing pretty well.
Cole Smith again at right guard in that game against Arkansas. What are you kind of seeing from him in the past couple of games, and do you anticipate him getting some more playing time moving forward?
Yeah, he could. He's been on the list the whole time as far as, and does some good things. Very enthusiastic and very enthusiastic out there, and aggressive. And so I do think he brings some energy to our unit, and but like everybody, he's got to keep getting better. He's another guy that's pretty young too.